Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another broadcast. Today I wanted to talk about Invincible Iron Man number 2, starring Riri Williams, Ironheart. Okay, more specifically, we're going to talk about the ways Bendis actually hurts his character by turning her into a super great, fantastic, funny, hilarious, you gotta meet her, she's awesome, feminist fantasy. But first, a recap. Iron Man 2 starts off with Riri Williams talking into a digital journal about how Tony Stark is alive because he downloaded his consciousness into an AI program that will mentor her on her own quest to become a hero. This is all incredibly frustrating because Civil War II has not even wrapped up, and that's just throwing off the timing of everything, but I digress. Anyway, we then cut to a training sequence where AI Tony has surrounded her with 18 other Iron Man suits. The plan is that they are going to attack her, and she is going to defend herself. She immediately flies from the herd as they are in hot pursuit over Lake Michigan just outside Chicago. Bendis then cuts to a few years prior where Riri and her friend Natalie discuss cartoons and romantic comedies. Although it's weird because they're supposed to be about 13 years old, but they act like they're both in their mid-20s. Anyway, we cut to a hospital scene just after Natalie has been shot. A doctor cannot tell Riri about Natalie's condition because she isn't an immediate family member, but the teen somehow makes it past security to see that her friend is dead. Riri is then hauled off by one of the doctors. Readers are then briefly taken back to the training session where Riri continues to flee from the Stark armor. AI Stark says that her suit looks like it has been slapped together out of foam core and rubber cement. Bendis then cuts to a scene where Riri is across from a detective who asks her details about the suspects who shot Natalie and her stepdad. In the background is footage of Iron Man and Spider-Man battling Stiltman, and then a clip of Iron Man giving a press conference. You could see in Riri's eyes that she has made the decision that she wants to become a superhero to protect innocent people like Natalie. We then fast forward to Riri's training session where it is revealed that she never really was running away from a fight. She was merely buying time to come up with some sort of Trojan horse virus that would go through Tony's AI network and take down all of his armor, which falls into Lake Michigan. This, of course, becomes an online sensation, and the techno golem that gave Tony Stark such a hard time in previous issues catches wind of it all. It is then determined that the new Iron Man must die, so that techno golem's plans are not thwarted. Okay, so here's the deal with this book. Since the first introduction of Riri Williams, she has been treated as if she has some sort of Bendis halo around her head. She's sort of like Bendis' Saint Augustine, which is an insult to Saint Augustine, but you get the point. She's supposedly smarter than Tony Stark. She's funny, she's witty, she's this super genius who has kicked butt and taken names since her first appearance. She has no apparent weakness or flaw. We know that her motivation for doing what she does is rooted in a desire to save people, but all that tells us is that she's uber altruistic on top of everything else. It's like Bendis is so terrified of showing flaws in a minority woman that he's made her perfect. And in the process, we might as well be reading about an android. Consider Spider-Man's early days on the job. He got his butt kicked over and over and over. He was humbled by Doc Ock, Mysterio, the Vulture, and a whole host of bad guys. Consider Tony Stark years ago. He's had to face down all sorts of villains, but also had to defeat his own inner demons. Both Peter Parker and Tony Stark had flaws like all of us, and as a result, that made them relatable. Peter was self-centered, and his failure to act contributed to the death of his beloved Uncle Ben. Riri Williams is a genius who had some unfortunate things happen to her family and friends because she lives in Chicago. Tony Stark has his own set of insecurity and guilt issues that brought him to his knees, while Riri Williams is just a child prodigy who disabled 18 versions of Stark armor while on the fly, literally. It's lame. And Brian Michael Bendis and all of his friends at Marvel will say that criticizing his work is racist, never mind the fact that we loved Rhodey before he killed the character, but he's just wrong. It's not true. What is true is that Marvel is shamelessly calling a book Iron Man that is not an Iron Man book, because they're hoping that will buoy sales. What is true is that Bendis is taking creative shortcuts to make his pet character seem cooler than she is at this point in her existence. And what is true is that Bendis surreptitiously spits on Tony Stark's legacy while trying to convince fans that he is lovingly spritzing him with mountain spring water. Is it really any coincidence that Riri's first villains will be 2 women? Even that seems calculated, so Bendis can figure out a way to not have the character get beaten and bloodied by a man. Heck, even the villain in the first issue was a woman. One can almost hear the Marvel editorial meetings now about Riri Williams. Okay, if she goes up against a female character, yeah, then she could get punched. But we don't want to have any male characters crushing her faceplate and bloodying her nose because, well, we just can't have that. Maybe if it's an alien, but not a man. We can't have that. Anyway, that's about it for now. I don't want to depress myself anymore about this title. I'll give it at least one more month, but if the incredibly infallible, incredibly awesome, love her or you're racist Ironheart continues down this path, I'm going to have to drop it. If you're reading Bendis' Iron Man but not Iron Man book, let me know what you think in the comments section below. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, head on over to douglassternsblog.com for more coverage just like this. See you next time.